Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I got a Raiders Tank Week 13 rooting guide. Yeah, we're at this point of the season. I want the Raiders to have the number one overall pick, and if you want the Raiders to have the number one pick, then here's the thing. I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to turn on those notifications because I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I am Team Tank because I know at the end of the day, until we get a franchise quarterback, we might be sitting here next season at this point, which I cannot afford to do again. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and our Week 13 rooting guide is presented by Panda Sups, and they got the best deal of the year. Use code Black Friday. You're going to be able to save 30% off, and you're going to get free gifts when you spend over $50 at pandasups.com. That link's going to be available to everybody down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. If you've thought around for a while, I want to take advantage of that deal at Panda. Now's your time to finally do it. But the reason why I'm making this show is because I have showed this multiple times on this show this week, and I'm not afraid to say it. We need a Shedeur. We need a Cam Ward. We need a franchise quarterback, and you're not going to win in the NFL when you're rolling out the QBs that the Raiders have been rolling out here. So guess what? I am Team Tank, and I do want the Raiders to lose, and I do want the Raiders to have a high pick. I know AP says that this team doesn't want to quit. I know Crosby says that this team doesn't want to quit, and I don't blame them. Quite frankly, that's the mentality that they need to have. But I think also the mentality that Raider fans need to have right now is what's the best long-term solution? And that's finding a quarterback. So what you guys are going to see coming up here on today's show is I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you the most important games that Raider fans need to be rooting for. I have them ranked from 1 down to 5. I also decided to throw in a few honorable mentions as well, and I explain why all Raider fans should be rooting for certain teams. When the Raiders are bad, and I get it, I need something to root for every week. So if I'm rooting for the Raiders to get the number one pick, that also tells me that I get to go watch some other football games and root for some other teams out there. So here we go. We're going to go from 1, work our way down to 5. The most important game that's not the Raiders game is the New York Giants on the road up against the Dallas Cowboys. And the reason why that all Raider fans need to be rooting for the New York Giants this week, they are picking number 2, okay? Right now in the NFL draft, they're at number 2. And the Giants beating the Cowboys would help the Raiders get the number 1 pick. On top of that, I think the Cowboys are another team that Shedeur Sanders, that Dion would obviously go to. And if we sit up here all the time and we talk about potentially getting Shedeur or potentially getting Cam Ward, if you could bump down one of those teams that has a chance to go get your guy or the guy that your team is scouting, a.k.a. Shedeur, that helps you out a lot. Also, if the Giants don't beat the Cowboys, I don't know if they're going to win another football game. Because I do think that in a way that they're tanking without saying tanking, they're playing DeVito over Drew Lock, a quarterback that they originally paid to be the backup QB. Daniel Jones ended up clearing waivers, and they do not look good. They look really bad against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost 30-7. And then when you look at the strength of schedule, I think that the Raiders, by the end of the year, are going to have the better strength of schedule. So if both teams finish 2-15, I think tie goes to the New York Giants. So the most important game for Raider fans to be watching and rooting for, you need the Giants to beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. You know what, though? I can't wait for Thanksgiving, and quite frankly, I'm very thankful to have a lot of y'all that continue to watch this show. Believe me when I say it, we got a lot of real ones here. But this could be the pinned comment on today's show. All I want to know, what's your favorite Thanksgiving Day food? Are you going to get some pumpkin pie? Are you going to get some turkey? Maybe a little bit of stuffing, some mashed potatoes? My answer after this YouTube ad break. The number one thing that I got to get on Thanksgiving, I need some pumpkin pie with some Cool Whip, but then also, I'm not going to lie, I am a stuffing guy with a little bit of cranberry sauce, but my Thanksgiving takes have been told are a little bit wild. Let's go to number 2 here, the second most important game in Week 13. You need the Jacksonville Jaguars to take care of business at home against the Houston Texans. I know that Jacksonville's picking number 1 right now, but the reason why I think it's more important for the Giants to win than over Jacksonville is because I don't know if the Jags even take a quarterback if they're at number 1. They have Trevor Lawrence. They just signed him a brand new 5-year, $275 million deal. The other reason why the Giants game is more important is because Jacksonville plays the Titans 2 more times. They also play the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 16. So if you're going to sit up here like I am and I go, I don't think the Raiders win another game. If Jacksonville has Trevor Lawrence, I think the Jags end up winning that football game. So with me saying that, that's important, obviously, for the Raiders to lose, because if the Raiders beat the Jags, that might cost you the number 1 overall pick in that game. But because Jacksonville has to play the Titans 2 more times, Week 14, Week 17, That's why I put them at number 2 on the list. Let's go to number 3 here. I got the New England Patriots up against the Indianapolis Colts. This is the third most important game for the nation this week, and you need the Patriots to win. New England right now, as it stands, has the number 4 pick. I don't think that New England's going to take a QB. I'm a Drake May guy. I think New England is too. And at times this season, he's played pretty well. And the fact that they even put him in the game at some point this season tells me that they're totally out on Jacoby Brissett, which obviously they should be. But you don't make a move halfway through the season unless you don't think that that's your guy going forward. A Colts loss also could help the Texans lock in the division title. Why is that important? If you look at Week 18, the Houston Texans play the Tennessee Titans. That could be a football game that also, if the Titans lose out, they only have 3 wins. And if the Raiders run into a win, that could be a tiebreaker situation. So if you're Houston and you know you got the 4 seed locked in or you got the AFC South locked in, then when you go up against the Titans, that could be a game that you lose. Maybe the Titans get an extra win. Also, New England's remaining schedule, it's tough. I don't know when they're going to win another game if they don't beat Indy, because then you got Week 15 coming off a bye, maybe on the road, though, against Arizona. And then it's Bills, Chargers, Bills. Those are 3 games right there that I do not see this football team winning, because the Bills and the Chargers are going to be fighting for playoff spots. They're going to be fighting for playoff seeding. So if the Patriots don't win this week, I really think that they're going to win 3 games for the entire season, which scares me a little bit. We'll get into some more games here in just a moment, but we got a brand new protein. And before Chugs and I popped in on the show, I go, dude, can you imagine how good this is going to taste? And he goes, can you imagine how good this would be in like a protein pancake? I'm going to get this protein, the blueberry muffin. Also, it's got blueberry, freeze-dried blueberries inside of this protein, 30 grams of protein, and now is your chance to try it because, again, code Black Friday, 30% off, plus you get free gifts, which apparently it's 1 free bag, 1 shaker. It also looks like some food topper, which if you've never had some of their seasonings, it's very, very good. Use code Black Friday. What'd you say? And a funnel. Yeah, that's actually really important so you don't make a mess. Alex gets mad at me all the time for that. PandaSups.com. Shout out to them for hooking up the nation. Code Black Friday, 30% off and free gifts when you spend over $50. And if you're like, you know what are some other awesome protein flavors that they have? I would say right now, if you're going to get the blueberry and you want to make some pancakes, the Campfire S'mores, chocolate ice cream. Again, I'm a chocolate fiend. Though vanilla ice cream, cinnamon toast cereal are probably the 2 best to maybe pair with a blueberry this time of the year. Huge shout out to them again for always showing love to the nation. Let's go to the 4th most important game. It's the Cleveland Browns taking care of business up against the Denver Broncos. Now, we're getting a little bit nitpicky here. The Browns currently hold the number 8 pick in the NFL draft, and I do think that Cleveland's going to be in the quarterback market this offseason. Though they're going to eat a lot of money moving on from Deshaun Watson. But if you're the Browns, I don't think that they have any chance in hell in getting Shedeur. I don't think Deion's going to let Shedeur go to Cleveland. So maybe Cam Ward can end up going there. They still have to lose a few more games. The Browns win, though, and this is why this one is, we're talking about very nitpicky type of things at this point. The Raiders' strength of schedule, if they finish the season at 2-9 and another team's tied at 2-15, the Raiders are 2-9 now. Or if they finish at 3-14, their strength of schedule is probably going to bump them down a little bit because of some of the teams that they're going up against. Hence, AFC West is one of the better divisions out there. So if Cleveland's able to beat the Broncos, a team that the Raiders play twice, that does help out their overall strength of schedule look a little bit weaker to help bump them up a little bit. We're getting nitpicky, but sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to get a little bit lucky as well to get that number 1 overall pick. So before then, we get into the number 5 game on the list and another big-time game that the nation needs to watch. Here's my honorable mentions list. The Green Bay Packers, we want the Packers to beat the Miami Dolphins solely based on strength of schedule alone. You want the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Chargers solely based on strength of schedule alone. The Carolina Panthers up against Tampa Bay. I think we're catching a nice little drift here, right? Carolina, though, no. Because they're 3-8, you want them to lose. That way that they're not in a position to get a higher draft pick. Tennessee, exact same reason. They're right there with the Raiders there, I believe 5-6. And then you want Philly to beat Baltimore, again, because of the tiebreakers of strength or schedule. Before we get, again, the entire Week 13 rooting guide, I did want to give you guys just a little bit of an update on when we're going to be live this week on the Raiders Report. I'm going to be live tomorrow, technically today, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Then on Thanksgiving Day, we usually go live on Thursdays for our Thursday happy hour show. Just enjoy the time with your friends. Enjoy the time with your family. That's what Chugs and I are going to be doing. Then we'll be back. Black Friday game, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be going live. Then you guys will see me again on that Tuesday, and then I'll be back on that Thursday. Hell of a Thursday night football game. We got to dress up as Shrek and Donkey, so make sure you're tuned in. A lot of fun shows coming up here at the Raiders Report, but wanted to give you our Thanksgiving Day schedule. The final game that you need to be watching this week, Week 13, the New York Jets up against the Seattle Seahawks. And if you haven't seen the latest report, this is from Diana Rossini. Diana Rossini says that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to retire, but he doesn't want to play for the New York Jets next season. And for the Jets that currently hold the number 7 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, now Aaron Rodgers means that they're going to go out and they're going to try to get a QB. And when you look at a lot of the moves that this team has made over the past few years, this team seems like they could be in win-now mode. Maybe they get aggressive. Maybe they try to trade up and go get a QB. I don't have that answer. But this has been an organization that's been desperate. And I'll tell you this right now. If the Raiders are at 2, or if they're at pick 3, and a Shedeur Cam Ward is on the board, I'm going to be nervous because the Jets will be that team that's going to get aggressive and could potentially go up and try to get somebody. So if you're wondering, Mitch, what are the most important games this week that Raider Nation should be watching? It's these games. The games on the left are the top 5 most important. The games on the right are, think of it as your honorable mention. The logos that you see pictured are the teams that you should be rooting for if you want the Las Vegas Raiders to have that number 1 overall pick. I know that you might be rooting for the Raiders to win. You might be rooting for the Raiders to lose. But I think we can all agree that a higher draft pick helps this team out. So with that being said, that's your Week 13 rooting guide. And if you guys enjoyed today's video and you want me to continue to make more videos like this throughout the entire season, make sure you click that like button because I had fun doing this one.